Right, good morning, welcome to this week's video. It is very, very wet out here, but you know, as I always say, some people feel the rain, others just get wet. So today we're going to get wet. We're heading out on the train. We're in Oulton Broad at the moment. We're going to take the train down to Brundall. We're going to pick up the river Bure there on the pack raft and make our way down to a lake, fingers crossed for a new species with an overnight camp. Anyway, better get on because I don't want to miss the train. Well, don't ever come to Brundall and try and find a public launch, because the one down at the Brundall stayed there. They said a man from Del Monte said no, and I've looked around on the map and I can't find anything. So we've come literally west out of Brundall, and we're now following the road to Posick, and there's the old ferry road that goes across to Surlingham, the Surlingham ferry, and there's a footpath from this road down to the river. So hopefully we'll find a space to launch there. I'm absolutely blowing out my backside. Been a while since I've been on the bike. Well, we found a put-in point, so we're just opposite the Surlingham ferry pub, just over here, called the ferry because there used to be a ferry that run this part of the river here. I think that was way before my time though. Water level is really, really low. It's going to be quite difficult to get the boat in down that, especially with a bike on as well. But just over here, I've found a little spot that I think we'll be able to get in here. So there's a little, it looks like this is where people are launching from, but there's a little bit of an access into the river there. So it's yeah, it's a very, very wet day. I mean, this is forecast to about midday, this is, but you know, it's only rain at the end of the day, isn't it? But right, let's have a look at getting everything set up. I think I shall set up on the grass over there, and let's get this bike on the raft and start making our way down the river. I never paddled this section of the Bure before, so this is a virgin paddle for me, and it looks really, really nice. We're at low tide at the moment, so it's nice just to do a bit of a recce for some autumn pike fishing along here. There's some cracking little spots all the way along here. I was just thinking to myself, that sky looks like it's clearing, but no. Well, it might be clearing over there, but not above me. Even though it's raining, this is an absolute beautiful river. Mind you, there's no one else on the river at the moment. Right then, so here we are, we're at Cantley, so we've just got the recutter just behind us, and you can see the sugar factory there as well. So this is going to be our takeout now. I'm literally just going to pack everything away and we'll just get back on the bike as quick as I can. So I'll see you once we get up to Limpenhoe Lakes. Well, you can't go past the pub without a pint, can you really? So cheers. Oh, that is heaven. Well, it's nice and peaceful here. So I think we've got probably 10-15 minute bike ride now until we get round to Limpenhoe Lakes. I've never been there before. As far as I know, it's a set of lakes with a day ticket, and I think they offer wild camping as well. So I'm going to see whether I can set the tent up next to the lake. Well, we made it anyway. So there's a couple of lakes here. It's not really marked out on the where you come in to the fishery there. It's not really marked out what lakes are, what fish are in there and whatever. But it looks quite sort of dank and dark water. So there's a couple of fish on the surface there, and I'm looking forward to getting a rod out. Now I'm not too sure whether he's happy enough for me to pitch up next to the lake or whether I've got to go somewhere else. There is a sign over there saying water. So I'm sure it'll be all right here. I'll just ping him a message and see if that's all right. So we're in the backwoods bungalow this evening. I'm using my paddles as the supporting poles there. So I've just made a little tiny adapter for each of the poles there, so that can go into the little grommet up the top there, and that's pulled out with a guideline there. I'm in my summer kit today, so I've got my summer sleeping bag today and my summer mat. I'm probably going to end up being a bit cold because it's still it's warm, but I've got a feeling tonight it's going to be a little bit cold. So just speaking to the owner, really nice chap, just telling me it hasn't been fishing that well, which is really good news for me. He said they've spawned, and since they've spawned they haven't really been feeding. But we're going to use the X5 Adventure, the X5 Max today. And the reason I brought this one here as well is just on the off chance that I can get a few up on the surface, I can just bring this in, flick a fly reel on it, and we can have a go at fly fishing for them as well. So I've got a few little bits of gear with me today, so not a great deal of gear, obviously, because I'm on my bike and in a packraft. Just got a tiny little kit here. Brought a couple of bite alarms with me as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll get this all set up, and we'll get this out in the water, and then we'll start getting some food on the go. See whether we can get some interest on the surface. Food-wise, we've got an Arctic field ration pack here with pasta and tomato sauce. There's a few other bits and bobs inside of that. Bag of elk jerky. Some salted almonds. Some rum, I think that is inside of there. And a flapjack. Now, there's one thing that we're missing. It's quite important. It's actually a beer point, and no, it's not a spork, because I've got a spork. I haven't got my cooker. What a knob. I haven't got my cooker. I don't know. Don't know where that's gone. Well, I know where it is, but I don't know how. I really don't know how. So, we've got enough. to get on with anyway. At least we've got some rum, that's the main thing. Pants. We've got stuff to eat, that's the main thing. You can cold soak these, but I wouldn't do it. No, it needs to be hot. Well, no interest yet at all. And another cock up today. I've brought wafters instead of boilies. So they float, which ain't no good. So what I'll do is I've got a couple of method feeders as well. So I've found some pellets in some of my grain bait mix. So I've just sort of critically balanced those out. So hopefully that'll get it on the bottom, because as I'm fishing at the moment, I've just realised, obviously I've got quite a long hook length. So that's sort of sitting above there. So that ain't no good, and that's pretty much the only bait I've got left. The only other thing I can think of is hair rigging some jerky to get to see whether that'll work. I'll have a couple of bits of it, because I didn't bring a great deal of bits with me. I put a load of floaters in on the surface. There's nothing popping up on the surface for those, but we shall try. It's a nice evening to be sat here anyway. Well, I think it's going to be a bit of a fishing failure today. A bit of a mess up with the old boilies, but hey ho. Right, I think it's time for an emergency drink. I've got a bit of bamboo rum in here. Cheers. Oh, that's cracking stuff, that is. Well, good morning. Not the best night's sleep. Sleeping in a field of sheep. Well, I think the rain held out for us, which is quite nice. Being half Welsh, there's a very strange feeling in my loins last night, sleeping in a field of sheep. Well, no fish through the night, which is a real shame. We did have one run, which didn't come to anything. But other than that, that's the only interest we've had since we've been here. So I've tried fishing pellets on the bottom. We've tried sort of critically balancing Scopex boilies, Scopex wafters, because we forgot the boilies, we got the wrong ones, with some pellets. We're now using good old faithful jerky on the bottom here now to try and attract something. Because I didn't bring too much bait with me, really, with, you know, everything all packed away on my bike. I could have brought a few more bits, and I should have done, really. But packing up, my head weren't with it when I was packing up for this trip. We had a busy weekend where I didn't get much sleep. And forgetting my cooker, what a schoolboy error as well. Hey ho. But I got enough reserve on me anyway to survive at least till I get back home later today. But what a cracking little place to wake up to this morning. This is absolutely beautiful down here. The sky's clearing, so we should get some sun. I'm probably going to stop here till about 10:30, I think, this morning before we start making our way across the river. But yeah, it's been a lovely little place. It's nice just to hear all of this. Right, all packed up, all on the bike. Let's start making our way to Reedham.
Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go with the sunlight on our skin.
So that's the Reedham ferry just behind us there that we've used to cross the River Waveney here. It's a chain link ferry. It runs pretty much every day. It really is a quick sort of way to get across the river, because if not, you've got to go via Yarmouth, or you've got to go through Norwich to get to that side, like Beccles and Loddon that way. So there we go. So that is everything for this little tiny adventure we've done today. I mean, what a trip we've had today. We were absolutely soaking yesterday, and look at the weather today. One thing to take from this video is please remember to check your bags before you come out on trips like this. I forgot my cooker, got the wrong bait, hey ho, but look at it now. It's absolutely beautiful for a great bike ride home. So thanks for watching this week's video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, then please hit the subscribe button just below there, and as always, a couple of videos for you to take a look at, and we'll see you next time on the next one.